Fans are continuing to discuss some pretty intense theories for Seth Rollins, so we'll see what's new there. We'll also check out what's new for Randy Orton, Paige, and more. Starting things off with the big news coming for the upcoming Backlash event. The official 2025 Backlash poster was just revealed by the company, and the cover star for the event is Randy Orton. The event takes place in Randy Orton's hometown of St. Louis, Missouri, so that's why he's being heavily promoted as one of the main stars of the event. Randy's Backlash match has obviously not been revealed yet, but considering the fact that he's the cover athlete for the official poster, fans are assuming that this is a big sign that Randy Orton will be featured in the main event of the night for Backlash 2025. And if Randy Orton is going to be the main event of the show, that also means another thing, that the WWE Championship will also likely be on the line during this main event match involving Randy Orton. So fans put the pieces of the puzzle together and figured out that Randy Orton will be competing for the WWE Championship in front of his hometown crowd at Backlash. And at the timing of this recording before WrestleMania 41, there's only two possibilities for who the defending WWE Champion could be for that big match against Randy Orton at Backlash. It's either going to be Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes or Randy Orton versus John Cena. Both very intriguing possibilities and matchups. There's no real rush for Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton at this current time, but there is a rush for Randy Orton versus John Cena, considering the fact that this is John Cena's last few months as an active member of the roster. So when you take that fact into consideration, it surely looks like Randy Orton versus John Cena for the WWE title will be the main event for Backlash 2025. Maybe there's a big swerve coming up there, but at least for right now, fans feel like we're about to see the final Orton versus Cena singles match with the WWE title on the line on May 10th. So whoever Randy Orton's WrestleMania opponent may turn out to be, it looks like Randy will get the big win over them and continue to climb his way up the rankings to be the #1 contender for the WWE Championship. And once Orton is finally the #1 contender, this final dance with John Cena will just be on the horizon. It's been several years since the Paige character was last seen on WWE television, and even longer since she's been an active competitor in WWE. She spent the last few years competing in AEW, but recently announced her departure from the company. So now the conversation has been shifting to fans wondering if a WWE return could be in place for Paige. Paige has done several interviews in recent weeks where she mentioned the idea of returning to WWE. One of the biggest reveals she made was that if the day ever did come when she returned to WWE, she would want to keep everything about her old presentation in the company. She wants the old same theme song, the Paige ring name, persona, just everything carrying over from her first run within the company. She said that a return to WWE does interest her, but that she honestly doesn't know if there's any place for her in the current loaded women's division. The more she talked about returning to WWE, the more the fans kept the conversation buzzing. She even reacted by saying she had no idea there were so many fans invested in wanting to see her return to WWE. She did say that she didn't want to get anyone's hopes up for the return happening anytime soon. She said that she's most likely going to take the remainder of 2025 off from the ring to focus on herself, but she's leaving the door open for the future. Even though Paige seemed a bit uncertain about what her new role could be in the division, the fans were already coming up with big potential stories for her eventual return. The big main theory fans were discussing for Paige was to link back up with her old faction members. Back during Paige's early days on the main roster, she was paired up with Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Those three women started their main roster journeys by each other's side as a part of a faction with each other before eventually branching off and doing amazing things on their own. But in a time where new generations keep piling into the women's locker room, it would be a fun potential route to see the three veterans, Paige, Charlotte, and Becky, come back together and try to watch each other's backs against all these younger, rising stars. Maybe the only women they could trust are each other, since the three of them did start off together on the main roster. So it's a fun little fan theory that fans brought up here. Could one of Paige's first moves back in WWE be to get Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch together on the same page with her? It would be fun to see what Paige's return could look like, so hopefully that is something that eventually comes up again down the line. There's one insane fan theory floating around involving Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. That's pretty far out there, but it's still fun to discuss. So let's get into that and a much deeper theory. Seth and Roman's friendship was destroyed back in 2014 when Seth threw away the Shield's brotherhood for his own selfish desires. That hatred lasted for a while there, but Seth and Roman did eventually patch things up in 2019 for the Shield's farewell tour. But it was sometime after that where Roman and Seth's friendship with each other collapsed again, and they've been at each other's necks again ever since. But the April 14th edition of Raw featured a small moment of a breakthrough for Seth and Roman's friendship. They were actually on the same page for a couple of different things. After coming out on Raw, Seth said that he actually liked some of the things Roman was saying, and how he's just starting to finally get it. And then moments later, Roman gave Seth credit for being right about Paul Heyman betraying him and making a choice. So the fact that Roman and Seth exchanged little compliments and moments of giving credit to each other for being right about certain things is definitely a big deal. Roman and Seth being on the same page is pretty much the last thing you would ever expect to happen. So this recent exchange by Seth and Roman did catch some fans' attention and has them wondering if a partnership between Roman and Seth could be on the table as another potential big twist in the story. We obviously can't see the Shield fully reunite since Jon Moxley isn't within the company, but how about a mini reunion between Roman and Seth? Besides the compliments to each other on Raw, something else they appear to share is similar mentalities. Roman and Seth are both individuals who want to make the best moves for the business. They both want to make it thrive, and they both love to take credit for things when they're doing great in the industry. So, are there a couple of things there that they can agree on and find some foundation there to build back up their bond and their brotherhood? It's definitely something that fans are discussing right now, and they're wondering just how dangerous a partnership between Roman and Seth could look like in 2025. The other crazy theory for Seth Rollins is that he's already secretly in a partnership with someone else, but we just don't know it yet, and that's The Rock. Obviously, there's been a lot of spotlight on Seth and Heyman's potential link-up, but fans are shining some light on the idea that Seth may already be undercover under the command of The Rock and John Cena. The first clue was that moment of Seth dropping that best for business phrase on Raw. It's the same phrase that John Cena used just days before his heel turn that was a big hint about Cena's upcoming future that went over everyone's head at the time. The second piece of evidence is Elimination Chamber. When CM Punk was starting to fight back and things started to look shaky for John Cena to win the Chamber match, who was there in position as the extra added insurance policy? It was Seth Rollins, who was right there to deliver curb stomp to CM Punk and quite literally hand the victory right over to John Cena. Seth even half-jokingly said in a recent interview that his soul is always for sale. So that's a very interesting twist there that would be even bigger than the Seth and Heyman twist. If it turns out Seth Rollins has been quietly linked with The Rock and John Cena dating back to several months ago, that would be a real mind-blowing twist right there. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.